What's good, true believers? This is probably going to go down as one of my favorite interviews. This was very unapologetic, very dope interview with Mario Gully. I learned a lot. One of the guys that I looked up to. So without further ado, this is Mario Gully. So I want everybody to know that this is an awesome moment for Black comic lords in our community. We don't often get a chance to just interview folks. Folks are busy, but the person that you see before you right now, his name is Mario Gully. Some of you guys might have heard of him, some of you guys might not. But whatever you do, make sure you stay tuned because you guys are about to be blasted with an incredible story. Number one, a story of perseverance, story of somebody that champions their own life, and somebody that has actually created a character that has resonated with a lot of people. So without further ado, Mr. Gully, I appreciate you for coming aboard with us, all right?
Man, bless you, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So real quick, man, just tell me a little bit about Mario. Who is Mario Gully?
Okay. Well, I was born in 1973 in Indiana. And over this process of time, I'm a martial artist first. A lot of people don't know that. I was a martial artist that became an artist. So basically, everything that I've progressed over the years, progressed over the years through art. It came through martial arts. To make a long story short, me and my Shifa was on the phone with Todd McFarlane Productions when I got the call that could I, could I send samples in or could I make it? Basically, and my Shifa was telling me at that time, if it was really good, you'd be a professional. Because, a lot of people don't know about it. Yeah, man, I was 19 and I always used to draw. Matter of fact, I'll take it back and say some things a lot of people don't know. When I was little, all I did was draw, right? We watched Speed Racer, we watched Huey and Dewey, Mighty Mouse, remember them? $6 Million Man, stuff like that. And me and my brothers, I got two brothers, both of my brothers older. I'm the youngest of 6. And we should draw all the time and cut them out. We used to draw and cut them out and play with them and stuff like that. And my mother was an artist, and my mother taught me how to draw women. I would ask her to draw me some women and stuff. And does this look right? Does this look right? So that's where I got my chops from, basically. But over the years, when I was 19, me and my brother we got attempted armed robbery and got locked up 51 weeks. And that period of 51 weeks, that's why I ain't been an ant. Yeah. You heard the whole story. It was an ant coming to the jail cell.
Coming to the window cell, you saw that was your inspiration.
Yeah.
Funny thing about that, though. That's kind of the rumor of how Spider-Man got started. Stan Lee Ditko was sitting, they saw a spider on the web, and they were trying to come up with a teenage hero and what to do. And they said Bugman, they said, nah, that's stupid. And they saw that spider, boom, it's the inspiration. And it takes a brilliant mind to take an insect with 6 legs and turn it into what we see with Hannah Washington. But I don't want to get too deep into it right now. I want you to continue on your story. Okay. So you're locked up for 51 weeks. Robbery. Say again?
It was an attempted armed robbery. I had a stun gun. I didn't go full gangster. It was a stun gun back in the day.
Stun gun, gotcha. And we've all made some mistakes, and that's totally fine.
Man, I made a lot of
you saw this ant, and then what happened?
Well, let me back up and tell you the story like it happened. I got locked up. I had a Sully, and we called it bulletproof. It's a white dude, and he got shot up a lot. I think he got shot 5 times or something. He had stitches and stuff all over him. And we became friends, and he lived in Atlanta. And he was, he was drawing and doing tags, the graffiti. I wasn't good at graffiti back then. I was just drawing and trying to, he was trying to sharpen my skills. I was like 18 turning 19. So I was kind of young in the game. And when the ant came to the jail cell, man, I was like, I was just depressed, bro. I was like, man, it's like this. What bothered me was something so small had enough in its essence, I guess you would say, to come in and go out of a place that I had to stay in. You know what I mean? Forever. If I felt, I felt the time. And it was depressing. I'm like, man, an ant that small has more common sense than I do. I'm a grown, you know what I'm saying? I'm a grown man. So that perspective gave me the insight. Say, you know what, I'm gonna try to do something with that and try to use that. Because the mentality when you go into jail was everything I did up to this point got me locked up. I had to change what I was thinking. And my son said, why don't you make a comic book about it? So, I got on commissary and made a comic book about it. And then I started drawing on envelopes, and it got hot in the jail cell because everybody need envelopes. Everybody need hot girls and envelopes. Right. So that got my commissary up and stuff all the time. And I was drawing. So I decided to make a 22-page comic book about it. So I started drawing her. And it was very different back then. I put the barcode on her. You talking about this is the 90s. This is 90, shit, man. Or 90, 92, 3, 4, somewhere around there. I can't even remember. And she was a science experiment. But when I got the chance to produce the book, I upgraded the story and I made it off my daughter's stuff because I wanted to give my daughter something. God forbid something happened to me or something. I wanted to leave my daughter something. So I put her in it. And I changed the story up before I submitted to Image Comics. That's how that went.
So we got help me with phrasing this. The name of the first company that you signed with was local to Central Florida, which was Arcadia.
No, that's not what happened.
Okay, help me out.
I'll tell you what happened. At that time, I was in the ministry. Okay, I don't know if you know, but I went to college for theology, and I was in a Christian cult for a long time, and I got a lot of stuff to say. And at that time, one of my friends decided he was going to invest in me to make this book, and that's how I got the 2 J. Scott Campbell covers, and I had the ability to sit down and had the time, but we pay the bills. Had the time to sit down and actually draw my 22-page comic book out. I couldn't get a break. When I was drawing, I couldn't get a break. I sent submissions in. I sent, everybody turned me down, of course. So I said, I got to do it myself. They want to give me a chance. They want to give a new person a chance to draw. No matter if he's good or not, in my opinion. And when I got it done, then I sent it to everybody. Full color and everything. And then I got turned down. And there was online a company called ICE. I don't know if y'all remember ICE. It came from a digital webbing forum back in the day. And ICE said they'll pick me up, but it would be in black and white. And I said, no, I don't really want to do black and white, but it's only people who decided they want to invest in me. Mm-hmm. Then from that, Arcana Studios is handled by Sean O'Reilly. This is in Canada. And he emailed me out of the blue the day I was supposed to sign with ICE. Sean O'Reilly hit me up with an email saying, basically, I like your stuff. Don't sign with nobody. And whatever they got you, I can do better, give you double. Or something like that. And then I signed with Arcana Studios. Because he had Cade. Sean O'Reilly from Arcana Studios, who now today he produces movie stuff. Sean still is a friend of mine. Mm-hmm. We went to a lot together. And from that point, I jumped over to Arcana Studios. Gotcha. And we put full color process and put the book out. That's how that was.
And so you got the call, you're in the driver's seat. How old are you at this time? Like 22, 23?
Yeah, about 22, 23. I think I got I was in Indiana. Matter of fact, I left the cult, okay, in Orlando. I stayed on Copacabana, right? You know what I'm saying, right?
I know exactly what it's at.
Okay, I left there with me, my kids, and my wife at that time, Tina. and I drove to Louisville, Kentucky, where my dad was at. But we had to do it to escape the cold in a way because it was a bad situation, you know.
Wow.
Then when I got to Kentucky, I stayed in one of my dad's bedrooms with me, my wife, and 2 kids.
Mhm.
And then that's when I got a call from Arcana Studios. At a very desperate time too, bro. A very desperate
Wow.
time.
I mean, you're going
Yeah.
through, I mean, you're trying to, all this is going on and you're trying to create, you getting the call from Arcana Studios. Like, it's a lot of moving
Yeah.
pieces to this. And this is
So-
before like the internet was like a thing. Like
Right.
you had to have, yeah. So, I mean, I always want to put a pin right here because everybody now can just do a Kickstarter. Look at, hey, here's my comic, sign me up. Back in the day, it was word of mouth. I don't know how y'all did it. I don't know how y'all could
you
go
had to send
viral
stuff to
enough.
editors, man. I had to send stuff to editors. I mean, you had to physically go to the mailbox. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
had to.
Go to the mailbox, send stuff out. We didn't have cell phones back then. Had to go to the payphone and call collect, put the quarters in.
Yeah.
You know, man, try to call the editor, see if you
Yeah.
pick up. Many years of doing that, bro. Many years of doing that.
And that's a hustle. It's some people right now, man, and I get frustrated. I probably shouldn't say this, but they'll just throw their Kickstarter on your page. You know, you want to support and stuff, but they don't want to generate those relationships. And one of the things that I think that you were able to do, you might get criticized for it, but you were able to generate these relationships with these folks to where they would invest in you. Because they could have just came to you and be like, hey, let me just buy your character. Oh, I like you, let me just buy your character. But they wanted you to be the face behind that. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, because well, in the art community itself, I'm talking about all art. Whether you're a kid in high school drawing something, or you know, you're Michelangelo. It's like, in my perspective, people have a tendency to try to own or put value on something that they did not create or know how to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when it comes to the art world, you got a lot of people with, you know, opinions and values about their door that you got to get into. But the reason I had relationships because I would go to my local comic book store back in the days. Now, you know, on OPT, on Orange Blossom Trail, they got Coliseum of Comics.
Right.
Okay, now Coliseum of
Comics.
Comics.
Actually, they're Coliseum Cup. They're gone from there. They moved someplace else. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But there's 2 brothers. You know, Brandon Boyle. They had man, it took a long, it took me 6 years, 6 after I invented the character, to get close enough to give my art to somebody that I knew that could look at it and give me a job. Because you know, when I was doing this and coming up, I had no idea. I mean, you had no idea what paper they drew on. I mean, there was no information. It's like they draw small. I mean, now we know 11 by 17 Bristol board, stuff like that. But back then, I had no idea. What kind of pencil do you use? What kind of ink do you use? Well, how this stuff, you know, how you put this stuff together? It was kind of hard to get that information. So Coliseum of Comics had a DC Comics contest, because Coliseum at the time was real tight with DC. They kind of still are. You know, you got sci-fi, they kind of still are. You know, the DC boys, I call them. And they had some editors, they had like a Superman page, Superman samples, I think it was. And I do 3. You supposed to draw 2, and I do 3. Well, I won that. And then I kept messing with Brandon and them. And Brandon and them was telling me, hey, you need to come down to MegaCon. I'm like, what's a MegaCon? Now, you know how far this is now. This when MegaCon was on OPT. Okay. Wow. I mean, OPT is shit. No, I'm sorry. It was on. It's off West Colonial in a little bitty convention area. I think it was at a hotel at the time.
Probably was at a hotel. Probably was at a Holiday Inn hotel or something.
Yeah, Holiday. It was like a Holiday Inn. Man, my car broke down on the way there. But anyway, he said, "Look, there's a guy named Anthony Bazzi at Image Comics. He's the marketer director at Image. You need to go up there and holler at him." So I remember getting there, man. I got there late, but I had my samples and stuff. And Anthony was on stage. Almost interrupted It's crazy. Almost interrupted him while he was on stage. And but I was like, well, I was ready to go. But he gave me his card, and I was sending stuff to him. I think I sent him 3 to 4 pages a week for about 5 months.
Wow.
And then finally he picked me up. He picked up the phone and said, man, we got to do something with you. You're just too persistent.
Yeah.
So that's how I broke into Image Comics, because he started getting me to do free pinups and Violent Messiahs. And I did stuff like, it ended up on Wizards and stuff, but they were free pinups. I was just doing a publicity. Right. Then he took me under his wing and started taking me around to the convention. And I was a roadie. I was an image roadie. I had a badge on. I would help put up the convention booths and stuff, put the book bag, bags and boards. I did all that stuff for a while. And that built my chops up, because at that time I would go around and do my comic book submission. He said, you submit this tomorrow, we'll submit this to this person. But I did a lot of I stand in the lines to do a lot of portfolio reviews. And it built my chops up, because everything they would tell me to do or fix or work on, I got to a point where, I knew kind of what they were talking about. That's how that happened.
I saw it's an interview. It's one of the only interviews of you live in full effect. And one of the things that you went out your way to point out, when people criticize your work and give you pointers, listen, man, listen to what they're telling you so that you can critique the things that they're doing, so that you can get to that level. And a lot of, you kept on saying, a lot of guys don't do it. You was at MegaCon convention, I think it was like 07. Yeah. And the guy was going around interviewing, it's like 2 other white guys that was at your booth with you, and it's you were pushing Ant. And I thought that a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people just like, hey man, my stuff is done, buy my comic. And you're like, hey man, let somebody take a look at it, get those critiques in so that you can get it to the best possible. So if it does fail, at least you can say, hey, I gave it everything I had.
Right. And that's even with art in itself, man. It's like that bothers me a lot sometimes, because at that time, if you do a female comic book, they put you in that pigeonhole, you only draw females or this and that. I wanted to show people, no, I can draw pretty women, I can draw ugly women, I can draw portraits, I can draw characters, I can draw, machinery. It's all about the pencil doing circles, squares, triangles, and rectangles. I can draw anything. You can't tell me what I can and cannot draw. That doesn't make any sense to me. So, even up to today, it kind of bothers me that a lot of artists don't evolve or don't get to the point where they can switch gears or draw realistic or draw detail. I don't ever want to cut back. I never cut back on skill. I mean, even if you look at my skill now, it's light years beyond what I was doing back in the days.
I'm glad you said it first, because that's what I was saying. But also, it's also the company that you keep, like the people that you were working with to get up the stuff, go to production. They might have not been telling you the same things that the people that you've learned over the years. And it does take years for you to develop and for to grow. And I would say your artwork was killer originally, but then I've seen that, okay, man, that looks a little bit more fine too. I can't really explain it, but like he took that one to that piece to the next level. And I've seen, what's crazy is that every artist has a signature type of style. Like you see the Jim Lees, the Rob Liefelds of the world. You can kind of tell, okay, that's Jim Lee. Okay, that's Jack Kirby. And I'm starting to notice that, no, that's Mario Gully's work right there. Oh, that's Gully. That's Gully. That's Gully. That's Gully. I'm starting to kind of, even stuff I seen Hulk, Wolverine, I'm like, Batman, Spider-Man.
That's the hardest thing that I've ever had to attempt in my life. Is my own look.
Yeah. And everybody can't do that, bro.
It's hard, man.
Okay. And we say people can, because Jack Kirby had a very unique but very strange looking way. Jim Lee has his own thing. All these guys have their own thing, and sometimes you kind of have to find your own way. And that can be difficult when there's so many giants around you. But you found your own way, though.
But I've always, now number one, I've always been a fan of Atomic Ballers. You know what I mean? When I first seen Spawn, I think I was in I think it was Walgreens, bro. I walked into Walgreens. I seen the Spawn. I was over. It was over. I mean, Spider-Man's, Spider-Man's fantastic. no doubt about it. But when
Right.
when I seen Image Comics and the color, you know, that was before, you know, a lot of people don't know this. You know, when Image Comics was doing San Diego, Marvel didn't show up for 5 years, bro.
What? Oh, well, when Image first hit, Image
Image
was
hit.
kind of slapping everybody. Everybody was kind of, Marvel was scared. They was threatening Image. Marvel and DC was threatening Image with, we're gonna take y'all to court. They were shook. But for a while there, bro, yeah, you said 5 years or 5 months.
5 years, Marvel did not show up to San Diego.
Wow. And San Diego is the granddaddy of them all. That's the Super Bowl for the.
But they had the gloss pages. Brian Haberlin was doing the digital colors. You know, the book was totally different. They look like newspapers compared to Marvel. Now everybody do it now. I tell people, you know, a lot of people talk about style. I don't believe in styles. You know, I don't really believe in styles like that when it comes to, you know, expressing yourself. If the colors look good, they look good.
Right.
It's as simple as that. And they was, you know, and that's what I miss about comics too, because they tried to draw. I mean, this is my opinion. Art is a visual form of entertainment. Okay, I don't care if Hemingway writing a book. It's a visual representation. That's like you going to a movie to go see Avatar by James Cameron, ain't nothing but words. It doesn't work. It's not gonna work.
Right.
So they tried to produce high-end, high-value work. And that's what I liked about it. You know, the details, the splash pages, things that get you excited. And Marvel, they wasn't doing that stuff back then, man. I mean,
I will say, I was middle school, elementary school when Image first came out. And I remember Image coming out and people were saying, oh, these characters are like knockoffs. Shadowhawk looks like Wolverine. And people were hating. Yeah. But Image could they have wiped out Marvel and DC? Still probably not. They were still big dogs back then. But they brought out a fresh, refreshing of comics. They really did. And DC leveraged and pulled a lot of the artists away or whatever from off of Image, and slowly disassembled it. Right. And then Todd McFarlane got, you know, frustrated with what they wanted him to do, and then he started getting into the sports and the figurines and stuff like that. He always kept exactly,
that's what happened though. Think about it. It's like if you got Jordan, LeBron, and I don't know, say Scottie Pippen. You got 3 of those guys on one team, and they stop playing so good. Now, if your hallmark, if your stable cuts back, okay, first of all, you ain't got no predecessors. That's what's wrong with Image now. That's my opinion. They ain't got no predecessors, and they're not pushing the idea of art. There's no good art schools in comics. I don't care what nobody say. To me, I mean, Joe Scuba, whatever. There's no good form of art that's taking artists to another level where they can develop their skills in anatomy, in perspective, in story writing, and then in themselves, man. You know, I believe if I'm supposed to draw muscles, I gotta have muscles. You know, I learned that from Jeet Kune Do. If you're a black belt, okay, and you're 80 years old, right, and you can't really do anything, you're not in our opinion, you're not a artist. You know, Bruce wanted to express himself. For me to know muscles good, I need to try to develop my muscles or try to develop my abs if I got them, because I will understand them better. Right. And that's the whole thing. The inside out. And when people lose that, they lose that type of connection. They don't really know what they're talking about. Just like, you know, I mean, being honest, it's like me talking to you about if I'm heterosexual guy, right? If I'm gonna make a whole thesis and a whole presentation about somebody who's not, you don't really know what he's talking about. Well, you ain't never done it before. How you know you never done nothing like that before?
Right.
And that was part of me getting into art. Right. That's why, you know, I love.
Let me ask you, and no disrespect, but you've never had, like, this is all no formal training. Like, did you go to school or no? to
Well,
help.
not really, not traditionally, but I don't really like the idea of being self-taught, because to me, there's no real such thing. You know what I mean? Because you learn from influences, man. I was real influenced by,
Absolutely.
Greg Capullo. I'm asking them people stuff. I send stuff online. I'm asking them for their opinion. I'm asking them, hey, what you look about? Man, I've done so many portfolio reviews, bro. I knew the editors by heart. I knew what they liked. I knew, we had, Tom Brevoort back. I mean, it's incredible. Some people like you to fake guns. Some people like you not to fake guns. Some people wanted their women look a certain way. And even back then, man, my women look like, the women look on Instagram now. That's years ago. Jim Valentino, me and Jim had it out a lot because he asked me, well, I'm drawing women that way. Why did her booty look like that? I'm like, bro, that's what I like. But not only what I like, that's something in reality that people like. And it looks good to me.
Let me kind of skip ahead. Okay. Hannah, we'll jump to Hannah Washington. Listen, I'm gonna make a statement here. The way you drew Ant, and if any criticism that you got, it's because it was before its time. It's only because if Ant would have came out today, people wouldn't have batted an eye, bro. They wouldn't have. Now, granted, Marvel still doesn't really do Ant-ish type art, but they kind of do here and there. DC, they kind of sneak it in, but Image, they unleashed right now. Yeah. And I just think they have been in history of looking over just comics. There's just been some things that could have ballooned out a lot better if they would have just. Your Ant was just too early. Ant was just too early.
I saw the black girl with a big booty to a white man.
That's like, why does she? And I hear when I see white folks critique Ant, they kind of all say that why is she shaped like that? But in the black community, it's totally different than how we view women and stuff like that.
And it's funny to me because I said, look, y'all, you got women that shaped like that.
Well, on a reverse, you see Power Girl, her chest down there pops out of her shirt, and they say nothing about that. Even the J. Scott Campbell a picture of Spider-Woman that was bending down like Ant. They got upset about that, but they slapped people on the wrist. Had that been a black female, they would have, what is this?
Yeah, it would have made it
down.
It would have made it. It would have got shut down. I got shut down a lot, bro. I got shut down a lot by her attitude. It's got more deeper than that. Even when I was writing her dialogue, I wrote a dialogue from her from the perspective of I wanted to introduce, and I did it slowly over time. I didn't want to put different types of slang and stuff that we had on the street in the comic books
because they ain't gonna get it.
They wouldn't accept it. I had to slowly do stuff. They would do stuff like, I would slowly do stuff like that. But my thing was, I just wanted to open up different forms of culture and to be accepted because of who they are. And, I got a lot of flack.
We are so Americanized at how women should look in comics.
Right.
And if you step outside of that, there's a problem.
It's ridiculous because to me, it's ridiculous because that's like the whole thing of, I give an example. When I was doing the kind of, she wear, cut off jeans and stuff. And, I didn't do too provocative. I never had Ant, the main character. I never believed the main character to be too provocative. Maybe her sidekicks or something like that. You see them in there, but the main character had to keep its integrity. So I was slowly in different comic book, I would do different type of books where, there's kind of hood on one side, it was corporate on another side, and it was hard to explain to them. They just didn't get it. They just didn't get it. Yeah.
Wow, man, we talked for hours. This is only part 1. There is a part 2. I am still editing it. Y'all stick around. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to all of our social media platforms. Tell people about us. So anyways, Mario Gulley is coming back for part 2. Should drop soon.